74,000 years ago, beneath the forests of Sumatra, pressure had been building for centuries. Then the ground opened, and one of the largest eruptions experienced by our species began. The explosion launched ash high into the atmosphere. Superheated clouds swept across the land near the volcano, burying enormous areas beneath ash and pumice. At the center of the destruction, almost nothing could simply stand and endure. But Toba's reach extended far beyond Sumatra. Its ash crossed seas and fell across southern Asia. Traces of the eruption would later be found thousands of kilometers away, and that raised a terrifying question. What happened to the humans living beneath that darkened sky? One answer became famous. The ash and sulfur blocked sunlight. Temperatures collapsed. Plants died. Animals disappeared. A volcanic winter descended across the planet. According to the most dramatic version of the theory, human populations crashed. Small groups survived only in scattered refuges, while much of our species vanished. Humanity, the story claimed, came dangerously close to extinction. Geneticists call this kind of collapse a population bottleneck. Imagine thousands of human lineages being forced through a narrow opening. The population may grow again, but much of its earlier genetic diversity is gone. The theory seemed to fit. Toba was enormous, and modern humans carry evidence of ancient demographic changes. Place the eruption beside the genetic data, and the near-extinction story feels almost impossible to resist. But DNA is not a security camera. It can reveal population patterns across long periods, yet it rarely identifies one exact year, or one unquestionable cause. The farther we look into the past, the wider the uncertainty becomes. That creates the central problem. Toba erupted during a period when climates and human populations were already changing. Two events can appear close together without one being the direct cause of the other. To test the theory, researchers needed something more than timing. They needed to look beneath the ash. In India, layers of Toba ash created a natural timestamp in the ground. Anything beneath the ash was older than the eruption. Anything above it came later. If human activity collapsed, the archaeological record might reveal a clear break. At Toba, archaeologists found stone tools in deposits spanning the Toba eruption. Tools appeared below the event and continued above it. Even more important, the technology did not suddenly disappear or transform immediately after the ash arrived. Whoever made these tools seems to have remained active in the region. We cannot identify them with complete certainty because no human fossils were found there, but the site does not look like a world emptied of people. Thousands of kilometers away, another clue appeared along the southern coast of Africa. Here, people used caves and open-air sites, built hearths, and relied on a rich mixture of land and coastal resources. Inside the sediments, researchers found microscopic shards of volcanic glass. Their chemistry matched Toba. The particles were tiny, but they gave archaeologists something extraordinarily valuable: a line connecting human activity in South Africa to the exact eruption in Sumatra. And the occupation did not end at that line. At the studied sites, evidence of human activity continued. At one location, the intensity of site use appears to have increased after the eruption. That does not prove every population survived unharmed. A coastal refuge may have protected some communities while others suffered. But it does destroy the simplest version of the story, the idea that Toba suddenly emptied Africa of humans. Researchers then turned to Lake Malawi. Year after year, sediment settled on the lake floor, trapping microscopic remains of plants, charcoal, and environmental change. The record shows some disruption. Conditions became drier, and parts of the surrounding vegetation changed. Toba was not invisible. But the lake does not record the ecosystem collapse expected from a decade-long, catastrophic volcanic winter. There is no clear signal of the entire region becoming an uninhabitable wasteland. Then came evidence from Ethiopia. At Shinfa Matema 1, researchers found microscopic Toba glass inside a site occupied by humans. The people living there faced dry conditions. But instead of simply disappearing, they changed what they did. As water sources shrank, fish became concentrated in smaller pools. The inhabitants increased their use of fish, processing far more aquatic food than before. A changing environment created a problem, and they found a new opportunity inside it. The site also contains small stone points that may have been used as projectile tips. Whether every interpretation proves correct or not, the broader picture is clear. These humans were flexible. They changed resources and strategies rather than following one rigid way of life. And the newest climate evidence makes the debate even more interesting. High-resolution sediments from eastern Africa suggest that Toba may have caused moderate cooling and an intense drought, but the direct disruption lasted less than about 2 years. It occurred on top of a longer cooling and drying trend that had already begun. 2 years of drought could still be dangerous. Children, water sources, prey, and migration routes would all be affected. But that is very different from a decade of global darkness that reduced humanity to a final few survivors. The most likely answer may be regional. Near Toba, the destruction was unimaginable. Across parts of southern Asia, ashfall and disrupted rainfall could have been severe. In other regions, rivers, lakes, coasts, and varied landscapes may have acted as shelters. The evidence now forms a complicated map. One giant eruption. Different climates, different human populations, different levels of exposure, and different ways of responding. So did Toba nearly wipe out humanity? The honest answer is that the famous catastrophe theory has not been proven. Toba was real. Its scale was extraordinary. It affected climate and ecosystems. Some populations may have suffered badly. But the archaeological and environmental evidence does not show one synchronized global human collapse. The more surprising story is not that a single volcano almost erased us. It is that humans were already difficult to erase. They lived in forests, dry interiors, river systems, and coastal refuges. When familiar food disappeared, they found something else. When conditions changed, behavior changed with them. Today, Lake Toba fills the enormous scar left by the eruption. The landscape is peaceful, but beneath it lies a reminder of how quickly the planet can transform. Toba may not have been the day humanity nearly vanished. It may have been the day humanity proved how adaptable